Welcome back, guys. It's your boy Franky Fix here with another repair video. Thank you for stopping by today. Please remember to like and subscribe. Click the bell for more cool videos like these. And we're going to get started. Today, we have a ps4 Slim that is having some issues loading the software. It's been running really hot. So in today's video, we're going to show you how to take apart your Slim and clean it out. Clean out the fan, the heatsink, change the thermal paste, and reassemble. We're not going to do the software reinstallation on this video. If you are interested on how to reinstall or update your software manually, check out my video. The link will be in the description of this video, and you can see how to go about changing out a hard drive or dealing with a software issue. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so first things first, you're going to need a T9 and a ps4 to do this. So we're going to go ahead and start with our T9. In the back of your Slim, you're going to have a warranty sticker, which I've already removed. You can remove that using a pick or using heat. So we're going to go ahead and remove that screw. It is a T9. You need to take that out. Alright, after you remove your security screw, what you want to do is go ahead and take the top and the bottom cover off. Before we do that, there's a door right here on the side. This is your hard drive cover. You want to push back and away. It'll pop right out just like so. And you can see I've already taken the security screw out on this side. There's a security screw that goes right in here. Make sure you set that to the side. But basically, once you do this, all you got to do is pull this ribbon tab, and it'll pull your hard drive right out. Set your hard drive to the side. Now what we're going to do is lift up from the front of the console to remove the top cover. And as you guys can see, it's full of dust. Got lots of dust in there. We'll clean that up in just a second. Now I'm going to flip it over and turn it around and do the same thing from the back bottom of the PlayStation. You're going to lift up on the corners. It's going to snap. You're going to just push it away. It'll open right up, and you guys can see this thing is super dusty. I'm going to go ahead and vacuum this up with the brush. Okay, you guys can see that I'm using two different brushes, a softer brush and then a very thick, stiff bristle brush. The as you guys can tell, the dust was very stuck to the bottom of this case, which means that this console is going to be loaded with dust inside. If you are allergic to dust or if you're sensitive to dust, I'd recommend wearing a mask. For the sake of this video, I'm not going to wear a mask, but if you have allergies and stuff, I definitely put a mask on. So for the most part, we got the bottom cleaned up some. I'm going to go ahead and detail this with some paper towels. Give me just a second. Get some paper towels here. Thank you guys for rocking with me. I'm glad you're here. Please leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think of the video, or if there's any videos that you guys might want me to make. Okay, so I'm wiping down the inside of this case with some alcohol and a paper towel. Be careful around the eject and the power button. So when you get a console refurbishment or repair from Console Fix, this is how all the repairs are done. We clean the case, we clean the system all the way down to the motherboard. It's full service. So anyways, first thing we're gonna do is remove the ps4 screws. There's 3 of them on this side. There'll be 2 right here on the power supply and 1 here on this heat plate. So let's remove those. Now notice wherever there's a screw, if you look here, you're gonna see a marking. This marking right here will tell you that a screw goes there. Now where you will have some trouble is it only tells you a screw goes there. It doesn't tell you what size or what kind. So you're gonna have to use some of your memory skills, and you're also gonna have to take pictures, or maybe take pictures of every screw at first, to be sure that you know where it goes. I'm gonna keep them together. I sent one flying just a second ago. So just so you guys know, and I'll do that for the sake of you that don't take pictures or didn't take pictures. You have three T9 screws here. Notice that one of the screws is much shorter. The short screw goes here in the power supply, and if you're looking at the front, it's on your back left. Okay, if you're looking at the back, it's on your back right. The other 2 long ones, one goes here and one goes here. Okay, so that's where these 3 T9 screws go. Next, what you're going to do is remove the ps4 screws. Pay special attention to these as well. You'll notice that these are completely different. These 2 screws are completely different than the other 3 that you're going to remove. And I'll show you what I mean. See how small this screw is? It's very small, tiny in fact. Tiny and silver, okay? That's the screw that goes here. And you have 2 screws in the power supply. These are longer. And there's 2 of them, so you should be able to differentiate between this one and this smaller one that goes here. Now these are all coarse thread screws, and you'll be able to tell the difference once you've done this a couple times, that there's a difference between the threading on metal screws, metal to metal screws, to plastic to metal screws. Okay, now that we've got those out, we're gonna flip the ps4 over. Not going to try to remove the power supply yet, because there are a few screws binding that power supply to the other side of the board. So where we're going to start here is we're going to start by removing this Bluetooth antenna wire. Just pull up and lift on it and unroute it. Here you have a ps4 metal to plastic screw. What I like to do with these is I'll just set them together. I'll just keep it together just like that with the screw in it. So I know that's the screw for that that device. Okay, now this can get kind of confusing. I am going to bring the camera a little bit closer here in just a second. You do want to take a lot of pictures of this. I would take pictures of, say, this section, this section, this section, and this section. Make sure every screw goes back where you took it from. And if you don't take pictures, that's going to be super hard for you to do. Okay, so it's better to do it and not get ahead of yourself. And just to show you, I'm going to take some pictures myself. We'll do it this time with the iPad. iPad takes really good pictures. Whatever you have that takes the best pictures, that's what you're going to use. In my case, my iPad's a little better than my phone. Takes a really clear picture. Alright, there we go. Nice clear picture for me to look at. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start. There's going to be a method to the madness here. I'm going to start. In a second, I'll put this closer to you guys so you can see it. Okay, here's where, a little too far. Here's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start in this front corner right here, which is going to be, when you look at it, it's going to be the right corner. So your right front corner. This here is your, I believe it's your, it's your power button and your eject button. Making sure, but that's what it is. So what you want to do is disconnect this. The easiest way to do this is to pull up on this sticker carefully, remove, very carefully pull evenly this ribbon cable out from the motherboard, and then you're going to remove this ps4 metal to plastic to metal screw, or metal, whatever it is. It's a coarse thread. Anyways, you're going to remove this apparatus, set that to the side. Now what you're going to do is disconnect your power to your fan just by removing that wire there. Now I'm going to remove these ribbon cables by gently pulling them away from the board. You have this one and this one that you need to pull out this way. Just like so. And then you have a tab right here that you're going to lift up on. It's a little black tab, and pull this other ribbon cable straight out. Okay. Once you've freed up all your cables, then you can start the process of removing the screws on this heat plate that is basically got the motherboard sandwiched together. And you'll see how that looks here in just a minute. So we're going to get started with the two metal to metal screws up here on the hard drive housing. Now notice there's also arrows by these holes. There's going to be some, let me flip this up so you guys can see. There's arrows right here, oops, right here by these holes telling you screws go there. And there are these little screws right here that you guys can see. Real small. Okay, they're metal screws. They're very, very fine threaded screws. Now, if you look down, I'm gonna hold this up so you guys can see. I will turn it around. Here we go. Okay, if you look down into here, there's two arrows right here. In here you have two screws. They're black. One's black. Yeah, they're both black. You want to remove those. There's two of them. I'm just going to tip this over. They'll fall out. Let's see what the other one. Boom, there it is, right there. Okay, so you got these two metal screws. They're very fine threaded screws. They're metal screws. I'm gonna put them right here. Okay, so that's four screws on the hard drive housing. 1, 2, 3, 4. You had the two chrome ones that were really small, these two. And then you had the black ones, which were on the outside here where the arrows are. You have your two black screws, okay? Then you have one more, and it's right here. It's a metal to plastic screw. It's in there pretty tight. And there we go. So that is how you remove the screws to separate the two plates over the hard drive, okay? I'm going to turn it back sideways again. I'm going to stay with this flow of movement all the way around counterclockwise, okay? Next, back here in the back, and I'll turn it around so you guys can see. You guys can see that there's an arrow pointing to this screw right here. You're going to remove it. It's coarse thread screw, it's silver. All right, there we go. And then we have two metal to metal screws. They're real small. There's arrows pointing to these. You can see them. They're real tiny, just like the others. Keep those together. And then you have a coarse threaded screw that screws the plates into the plastic housing beneath it, next to that. All right, so we're going to do the outside first, and then we'll come down and around this way, and then come down this way, okay? Here you have a fine threaded black metal screw. And one of the ways that you could tell, if you look into the screw hole, if it's a plastic screw, you'll see plastic in the hole. If it's a metal screw, when you look down into the hole, it'll be metal, okay? So that's how you'll know if you have a fine or a coarse threaded screw in that hole. So here we have another coarse threaded screw. We'll remove it. And here we have another one. And there will be arrows pointing to every single one of these. So if there's any arrows without screws, then you know you missed or lost a screw somewhere. Now you have a black metal screw here. Another silver coarse threaded metal screw. Plastic screw. Metal to plastic in this case. Here's another one. And one more here. That completes this outer side. Now we're going to go ahead and take off this black metal to metal screw. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm putting the screws in order here, and I'll show you guys. It's nice to have one of these to keep your screws and stuff organized. You guys can see they go in order. So if I follow the same order and they're numbered, I'm going in reverse. So I'm starting from the highest number and working my way down. Right now I'm on number 43. It'll go 44, 45, etc. These are very helpful to have in this sort of application. Okay, so I'll go ahead and turn this around so you guys could see. So we took the two black screws out here, metal screws. We have another silver screw here. It fell down there. I'll just get it out real quick. Coarse thread. Alright, I'm not going to go in on these rows yet. I'm going to stay on the outside. Take this black screw out. These are black metal to metal screws. This, removing them where the ribbon cables for the disk drive connect. Okay, so now we have the outer perimeter of this metal plate removed. So I'm going to go in the same order as I did last time, where I started up in the corner and went around. So we'll remove this black metal screw, this one. Lots of screws here. It could be very intimidating if this is your first time. That's why I'm taking my time with each screw, showing you guys. Now all these screws, looks like a reverse question mark or like a hook in here, are all black metal to metal screws. They're exactly the same. I've done so many of these, I can put all these screws together and mix them up and still put them back where they go, but it hasn't always been that way. So I figure I'll show you some of the tricks that I used in the beginning to help me, so that I could put every screw back where it goes. And if you guys notice, I'm not using a hand drill or anything, because all that will do is strip these screws out. You got to use very good bits. Use a good tool. This is just a Cobalt multi. It's got a kit with like a bunch of different reversible bits in it. It's probably one of the better PH00 screwdrivers I've used. The only problem is the grip always slides, but I've gotten used to it, so it doesn't bother me. But you guys got to find a good tool to extract these screws, so that you don't strip out the screw heads. Okay, so now we're going to remove the last two black metal screws here on the top, and there we go. This whole plate should come straight up, and it does. Now pay attention, you have these thermal pads here. All these have to be cleaned or replaced. An easy way to clean them, which I'm not going to show it on this video, is with some mild dish soap, like Clear Dawn, and some filtered water, so you don't leave a film or a residue on them. And then you want to after you're done cleaning the pads or letting them soak and cleaning them, getting them clean, you want to let them sit like on a paper towel, a clean paper towel, naturally air dry, and you want to make sure that you rinse with filtered water as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove all these thermal pads so that I can vacuum up the bottom of this plate and get all that dust off of it. Alright, 1 second, we'll get that done. Alright. Okay, now on the motherboard, I'm just using a cheap, pure bristle brush, 2-inch brush, just real soft. Use that to dust while you vacuum to get the dust out. Just get this side cleaned out really good. And then now what we're going to do is you're going to be able to see that you have a power right here, a power cord right here that goes from the power supply to the motherboard. So what we're going to do now, before we remove this clamp, flip this thing over. You'll be able to reach underneath the power supply with your fingers and pull straight up. Okay, this thing is dirty, It's really dirty. I'll show you on this side as well. Super dirty. So we're gonna clean this thing up. First, start by removing this power cable right here so that you free up the power supply. I'm gonna set it to the side. We'll clean this in just a second. Go ahead and flip back over the PlayStation. Now you'll be able to reach underneath here. You see this power cord here? You're gonna go ahead and unroute this so that you can remove it from the motherboard. You don't want to pull it by the strands, just want to get a good firm grip. Wiggle it out, it should pull straight out. Okay, so take this cable and set it to the side. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and remove the 2 spring screws. This is a spring clamp. You want to remove these 2 screws just like so. Set that to the side, as well as this spacer. Should pull straight up. It does. Okay, now your motherboard is free. So what you do here is you're gonna lift up from the back just like so and pull it out. I'm gonna set the whole thing to the side so that we can get in here and clean out the fan. And you have on the fan, you're gonna have 2 screws. You might take a picture of this. I would take a picture of every step of the process if you're new. It's your first time doing this. It's really dusty in here. I'll show you. There's a big ball of dust right there in the fan that you can see. It's just floating around in there. So give me a second and we'll vacuum all this up. Alright, that's dusted up pretty good. Next, I'm going to remove the disk drive. To do this, you've got some ps4 screws. I'm only going to take out these 3 screws right here. There's one right here. Keep them in order. They're coarse thread silver screws. And because I've been putting them in order, even if I didn't know how to put it back, I'd know how to put it back. Know how to reassemble. Alright, there we go. 3 screws are holding this in place. You should be able to lift this drive straight up, and the drive is actually pretty clean. We'll do a separate video on how to take apart these disk drives and clean them. We'll set that to the side. So I'm gonna just kind of vacuum inside the disk drive housing. A little bit of alcohol just to wipe things down. All right. This is the chassis for the PS4 Slim. So got it clean. I'm gonna go ahead and set it to the side so I can clean up my fan. Real easy to clean up the fan. I'm gonna use a little bit finer bristle brush. Give me just a second. Just like this one here. You can get these at like Michael's. You can get them at Hobby Lobby, places like that. What you want to do is run this in between the fins and use your vacuum to vacuum out the dust. So we'll do that. Alright, the fan looks good. It's nice and clean now. It spins freely. So we're going to go ahead and reinstall it back into the chassis. Let's clean this up real quick. Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. Alright, now the way the motor goes back in, it's pretty easy. If you try to put it on backwards, it won't go in. If you try to put it on this way, it won't go in. So there is a tab right here with an arrow pointing to this screw, and that's how you know you got it in right. It'll sit just like this. You'll see here. Here's your tab, here's the words. You'll see these divots right here. That's where the fan goes. Since they were the last two screws that we used, I'm going to put them in. These are silver coarse threaded screws. Oops. Make sure you don't cross thread your screws. Okay, there they go. Nice in there, nice and tight, firm and tight. Alright, set this to the side for a minute. Next, what I'm going to do, I guess I'll just go ahead and clean out this disk drive so you guys could see how that's done. It's not too dirty. I'm going to dust the outside off first. Alright, if we were going to disassemble this, same thing, take pictures. I'm not going to disassemble it in this video. So earlier we removed the power supply. I'm just going to clean up around the power supply housing. These power supplies are notorious for blowing fuses and MOSFETs on the board. So if you have a ps4 Slim that's not powering up, give us a call. We can repair your power supply. Since this power supply is working great, we're not going to do anything to it on this video, but eventually we'll make a video on how to repair power supplies for ps4 Slims. Alright. Next, we are going to focus on the heatsink and the motherboard. And as you guys can see, this thing's pretty dusty. First, what we're going to do is separate the motherboard. Just lift up, pull it out very gently. Be careful because there is if you look right here, there's going to be a thermal pad. You need to remove this and clean it with your other pads. There's lots of dust on this motherboard. You guys can see it everywhere. You also have 2 more thermal pads right here. But I'm just going to lightly dust over this with this fine bristle brush. You want to use a brush like this on this board so you don't knock any of the components loose. Move this out the way. close attention to the fins, make sure that these fins are cleaned out. You can do that by using a brush on one side and suctioning with a vacuum on the opposite end. That'll clear it out. Make sure it's, when you look through it, it should be clear all the way through. I don't have a light on this end, or I'd show you, you'd be able to see through it. But you can see through it. Okay. So next thing, give me just a second. I'm gonna wash the thermal pads and I'll be right back. I've cleaned the pads and I've placed the pads back where they go on the heat sink and on the heat plate, I'm sorry. And now we're gonna put our thermal paste on the chip. It's a very small chip. You don't need much paste. Say about a little less than a pea size amount. You're gonna need some sort of spatula, or like you could use a credit card maybe that's clean. Make sure you clean it first. You're gonna spread the paste across the chip evenly. Alright, the heatsink, it's clean. The plate's clean. So what you're gonna do is, or how I do it, face the hard drive, the part that houses the hard drive and the rear facing you. You're gonna take your motherboard and insert it into these slots just like so, and it'll snap down right into place. It fits right in. Okay, once you've done this, now you can go ahead and put your spacer back in and your retaining spring. I'm going to start the screws by hand. Remember, these are Phillips head PH00s. Just tighten them down about halfway and then do a few turns each side. Do not over tighten them. Once they stop, you stop. Okay, that's it. So another thing I'm going to do to make it easier for myself on reinstallation, I'm going to go ahead and clean up. Let's go ahead and clean these cables up. A little bit of alcohol. Just wipe them down. And remember, this is the power cable from the motherboard to the power supply. You can go ahead and insert this in now. An easy way to do this is to mark this end whenever you take it apart. I didn't do it this time because I know which end goes in here. A way that I can tell usually is by the way it bends. So if you look at how this bends versus how this bends, this is very straight, where this end is kind of curved. So that's how I can tell. But to avoid all that, you could just put a mark with a Sharpie or something on that side. Alright, so there's that part. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and put our top plate back on. I'm not gonna put any screws in it just yet, just to make sure everything lines up, and it does. Okay, next what I'm going to do is get my chassis back out. We're gonna put the disk drive in first. Remember how our disk drive goes. There's 3 screws holding it in place. That'll be these 3 screws here. These three metal, plastic screws. They're silver coarse threaded screws. You got one down here by the fan motor, You have one back here in the back corner. And you have one, move this out the way, right up here in the front. So once you got that done, you can go ahead and take your power button and place it in place. Alright, just like so. Alright, that's in there. Okay, now the fun part. We'll put our motherboard back in. Start over. So we ended here last time. We'll begin here. These are all black, fine threaded metal screws. All right, so we went around this way, stopped here. We have 3 more to go. Give me just a second, guys. Okay. So here's what's next. Remember, we went this way, then we went this way. Now we're going to reverse that. So we went this way, and we're going to come down here. You got 3 black metal screws, fine thread. They go right here next to where the ribbon cables go. There we go. Another one here. Bam. Got it. Now the very next screw, really we should have went 1, 2, 3. I just put these 3 in. Next screw is a coarse thread silver screw. You're going to put that in this hole. Alright. And you got two black metal screws, one here and one here. Lots of screws, guys. You need to rewind the video a bunch of times and pause it. Sometimes that's what you got to do. You could use this video right here to see where all these screws go. Okay, I'm going to plug my fan motor in. Boom, done. Going to go ahead and stick in my ribbon cables. Remember, this one has a black tab you got to lift up on. You'll know that you did this one right because the black line will be parallel all the way across. And you got one more for your power button right up here. And there you go. So you got your ribbon cables back in, your power cable is in under here, you have your fan cable there. Okay, now we're gonna come down this way, down here. Since I kept my screws in order, they should fall right into place. You start off with two silver coarse thread screws. We're gonna stop when we get to here and put the power supply in on the other side. Alright, so this is our stopping point to flip over. Most of our screws are in. Once we get the power supply in on the other side, we will continue. Okay, flipping it back over. What you're gonna do, you're gonna route this cable just like so. You guys can see in there. You're gonna route the cable, this power cable, back this way. Okay. Then you're gonna plug it into your power supply. Easiest way to do it is just like this. It'll snap right in. Flip it over and push down. Alright, short guy goes here, long guy goes here. Alright, then we have these two long ps4 screws that go in up here. We've got the two longer coarse threaded screws for the back. We have this small ps4 screw there, and then we'll put this one in whenever we put it back into the case. Okay, so tighten all these up. We have one more on this. We'll do when we set it back in the case. Alright, so now we can continue where we left off. Alright, so here we go. Silver coarse threaded screw goes here. Another one right here in the corner. And you got one black metal screw that goes right here. And then another silver coarse threaded screw here in the corner. Now what you have are the, turn it this way to the back, the two small flat fine threaded metal screws go here. You got another silver coarse threaded screw here. Let's get that screw out. This guy should stay in there now. It does. This is almost like operation, just don't touch the sides. Alright. We got one more down here. Coarse threaded silver screw. And we have two more small metal fine threaded screws up here, and voila, we have reassembled the plates. Everything's back in. Just gonna go ahead and slide my hard drive in so I don't forget to do it. This one didn't come to me with a screw locking the hard drive, which tells me they've replaced it, but I have backup, so I'm going to put one in. Security screw. Done. Okay, there's one more thing we have to do. Remember this Bluetooth antenna goes right here. It's got a coarse threaded screw. You're going to put that one in and then route this back the way it goes. All you're gonna do is just press down and it's gonna fall into place for you. All right, so now what we need to do, get our bottom, which is already clean, and we are going to snap it back into place. Just like so. Remember, there is a locking screw here where the warranty sticker once was. Okay, I'm done. Now I'm going to go ahead and close up my hard drive. There we go. And we have one more screw, remember, right here. That's gonna lock it all into place. Then you're gonna take your lid from the front, or actually from the back. You're gonna slide it in from the back and push down. And that's it, guys. Just like that. We have refurbished Changed the thermal paste. Cleaned this baby up. Got rid of all the internal dust. All I have left is to format the hard drive. Put a new hard drive in it. And it's ready to go. So if you like this video, make sure to hit a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe and click the bell. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, see you later, guys. Peace.